Hey y'all, welcome back to the farm. Well, today I am going to take you along to do a 12-inch quilt block called Grandma's Crochet Block. And this is a block that is on this quilt pattern, and this is a book. It's called Farm Girl Vintage 2, and it's by Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet. And I have been working on this quilt now for a couple of months. I would say maybe 4 months, and I just have been doing it in my spare time. And I have been trying to work my way through this book, and I'm not actually buying any fabric to do this. I'm just working through my scraps, and I'm pulling what I feel like fits that block. It's a fun quilt, and I'm actually very excited to get it put together and put it on my spare bed in my spare bedroom, just to display it because I think it's very cute. It has, I don't know if you saw all of the stuff that's on it, but it's very cute. I mean, it has some very farm related blocks. So the one I'm working on is going to be this one, the crochet hook and the yarn, the skeins of yarn. This one's actually on page 61. Now these blocks are, this is what I've done for mine. I made these little foam board keepers is what I'll call them. I don't know actually what the proper name is for them, but I also made these little alphabet blocks that correspond to the pattern. So that way, I mean, I haven't worked on this thing in probably 2 months, maybe. And so, but now I'm picking it back up. I'd already had this cut out though. And so now I know I can pick this up and I know exactly where to start. This book is copyrighted, so I can't give you the pattern, but I'm just gonna take you along for so long and show you what it looks like when I get it all put together. It should come together fairly quick. The pattern's just 2 pages long, but it is all pieced together. It's not applique. It's all of these pieces are in that one 12-inch block, and some of it's very intricate, but it's fun, very fun. In fact, I'll show you some of my blocks that I've done. So there's a pumpkin block, a cat block, a tractor, a pie and mittens, corn and tomatoes, utensils, tulips, a dahlia, a beehive, watermelon, some crisscross squares, a crow, apple, a peach, and a pumpkin, a cowboy boot, and just a quilt block. So these all have been, the smaller ones are 6-inch, 6.5-inch, something like that, and then these are 12-inch. But it is so fun. Some of them are hard. The corn and tomato block was very challenging to me. I finally just had to put it up and go back to it. Got my iron turned on, and I think we're about ready. Now you'll see in this type of quilting that it consists of a lot of chain stitching, and what I do for that is just take a couple pieces that are going to be the same, and I'll put them together, and I'll just stitch and stitch and stitch, and then break my thread later. So these I'm making 6. They're all the same. Different colors, but all the same. That's what makes these blocks go together so quickly though, is the chain stitching. Because before you know it, you've got them, all your stuff together, and don't seem like it, but it comes together quickly. This was a gift I got for Christmas, and it's a rotating cutting board. Pretty neat. This is what I mean by chain stitching. I need to come in here and I need to set my seams on these. And by setting my seam, I mean I'm just gonna iron over what I just sewed. Just iron it flat. Just so that seam is set. I cut them apart. Gonna trim 1/4 of an inch away from that seam. Always close your cutter. Now I'm going to take these and I'm going to sew another one of those pieces on the opposite corner, like this. I'm going to do that to all those. And these again will be trimmed 1/4 of an inch. And then these, I need to, this one irons up, this one irons down. That makes a difference, y'all. And all the way your blocks lay flat. Some of you may have questions about my iron. It's a Panasonic and it's a NIWL 600. And do I like it? Yes and no. It's convenient, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem to get as hot as I'd like it to. And that's on the hottest setting. So now I'm going to use my F and G blocks through with the B and the E blocks. Now I've already drawn my line on the back side of these fabrics. You know that it tells you to do that so that you can sew alongside them. I'm going to make 3 of these, and I have 3 different fabrics. I'm probably going to do one of each fabric this way, and then I'll probably do another one different. So I'm going to do mine this way. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put these together that way so that I'll remember to do them that way whenever I come back to them and do the other angle. For those of you that don't know how to sew, I guess I just took this for granted, but like when you're sewing, quilting is really easy. It's just sewing straight lines for the most part. But when you sew your fabrics, you sew your right sides together. So don't overcomplicate it though. I mean, it's not that hard. People think it's so hard. It's really not. Just take your time and go. Okay, now here was those first pieces from that other step that we were doing. And I'm going to trim these. And then we'll iron them. And these I'm going to trim 1/4 inch. Trying to figure out if these pieces are big enough to save. I think they are. I have a drawer full of scraps because this sewing this quilt has taught me that you can use almost any size scrap. Like if you needed a nose on a puppy or whatever, that right there is big enough for a nose. And these are gonna iron this way. That way. don't know if you can see that scrap drawer right here. Right here. And it's full of little scraps. And if nothing else, I can always use it for stuffing or something. But there's some cute scraps on there. Okay, now I need to get my J's. These J's are gonna match my the bottom part. So this is gonna be that one, and then that one, and there's those. And this is my other one that's over here. Okay, and then those are gonna go up here. Just have a little faith in yourself and just try. You'll be surprised. Okay, and then here's my other inside. This is making those little hearts. So there's half of a heart. That one didn't do too good. I'm gonna have to redo it. Now these are supposed to measure 3.5 by 4.5. And we'll just trim those up to match. So these should measure 2 by 3. Now I've got that other one on there. And then I was absolutely correct. So these other sides, we're gonna be doing, it's gonna be the same way, only this side is gonna be the one that gets it this way, because it's gonna rotate the heart. seam ripper, because this is the one got off right here. It's too much. Seam ripper. And if you haven't ever used one, trust me, if you do much sewing, you'll get good at it. Nothing wrong with it either. Behind every good sewer, there's been a lot of seam ripping. I'll just tell you that for sure. And just like that, it's done. We're gonna try it again. Nope, and it threw it off again. So that tells me it's something in the way that's sitting underneath there, catching. It didn't turn out perfect, but it'll be okay. My iron shut off, so let me turn it back on. And by the way, all of my animals are back in here with me again. Harley and Molly and Gracie. Back with me again. Okay, iron's hot. There's something about that angle on this piece of fabric it does not like. That goes wrong. This side's supposed to be this way. And then this one is going to be that way. Oh man. I made another mistake. Tell you. I sewed the wrong one onto the wrong deal. Yeah, I sewed this one on this one. That don't match. No, don't match at all. That one's supposed to go with that one. Come on, Dina. It happens. I'm just telling you. Get some seam ripper out again. I'm gonna leave it out. Maybe it'll bring me good luck. Okay, so this one is this one. We're gonna sew the right one on. The right one on the right piece. Oops, forgot to take that one off. I think this is going to be a good call for these little pieces. Because I'm not used to this fast machine. And I'm going as slow as I can with this start stop button because I don't have a pedal. I'll let that dry a little bit. What I was saying though is I don't have a foot pedal. I've only had it a couple of days, and so getting used to it without having a pedal is a little bit different than what I'm used to. So I'm gonna use that little tacky stuff. That'll help me. Okay, we'll see. Oh no. Okay, so now I'm gonna trim those to 2 by 3 inches. This is the one I had so much trouble with, and it's kind of wonky, but I bet it works. It worked. So now I'm going to do H and I off of here. We have H and I, and we're gonna do matching fabrics. So we're gonna work on this heart first, and we're just gonna lay them out here. So then I need to sew the outside piece on first. Okay, there's those. And then we're going to move to the other heart. Oh, sorry, I forgot to take you over to the sewing machine. Did I sew those on the wrong side of the heart? Outside. Outside. No. I'm glad I was paying attention, because I sure would have done it on that one. Make sure and show it on the outside of the heart, not the inside. You'll be ripping it out again. This is what I mean. You don't want it here, you want it here. Okay, so now we're going to set these seams, and we're going to press them, and they're going to go towards the outside seam. So when I say towards the outside seam, it's going to go this way. We're going to come in and sew those together like that. Now this is where, when I told you about ironing those seams would make a difference, this is where you'll see it, especially right here. Because those seams will nest. These are going to be pressed open because it's a big bulky seam, and so you press it open and it'll lay flatter. And when I say pressed open, that means that seam, half of that seam will go one way and half of it will go the other way. Just like that. So we're going to sew these on here, and then we will stitch them out or press them out. They're going to be open. And those are supposed to measure 4.5 by 4.5. Four and a half. Okay, now we're going to assemble the skeins of yarn. I think that this is the best layout for these. And I think they go good together. And then once we get them sewed together, they're going to iron open, wide open. 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. Okay, and it goes on there. And that'll work. Twelve and a half by 12 and a half. And there's my quilt block for the day. And I'm going to hang it on my wall and add it to my others. When I get all my blocks finished, then I'm going to make my quilt. I thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and encourage you to hang out with me more often. I'll be doing more quilt blocks and all kinds of stuff, cooking, farming. Thanks for hanging out. See you on the next one. Go out and be a blessing to somebody today.